Egypt has announced a ban on the wearing of the full face veil, the Niqab, in schools from the beginning of term at the end of the month. The Education Minister said girls will still be able to wear the headscarf or hijab. Some say these new rules infringe on religious freedom. Well, for more on that, we're joined by Nirvana Mahmood, independent analyst and the host of the This Week in Egypt podcast. Great to have you with us, Nirvana. So why is it that the government has decided to do this now, do you think?
Right. This debate is not new in Egypt, Laura. Last year, there was a school in a rural area in Egypt that forced mandatory hijab on all the students. Cairo University have also banned niqab before. So the debate about dress code and niqab is not new to Egypt. And as you mentioned, now we are near the start of the term. So there was a lot of debate of the need of requirement to regulate things. There is two elements from the government perspective and from many Egyptians' perspective that niqab infringe on the security aspect and also infringe on the communication aspect with kids. You cannot just expect kids to cover their face and interact rightly with their fellow students and with the teacher. So niqab is considered by most Egyptians is not necessarily is not the right dress code for their kids. As for hijab, as you rightly mentioned, is not banned, but also is not enforced. So kids who don't want to wear a hijab, they are allowed to do so. And let me assert that at least 15% of Egyptians are Copts. So they are non-Muslim and they shouldn't be forced to wear any headscarf if they don't want to.
Right, and we are talking about schoolgirls here. What does this tell us more broadly about the struggle between the secular and the Islamist factions in Egypt?
I hate to say there are hardly any secular in Egypt. Egypt is loosely divided into Islamist and non-Islamist. And most Egyptians, despite they are pious Egyptians, very devout to their faith, they don't like the Islamist attempt to infringe on their life and try to tell them what they wear and what they shouldn't wear. And this is where the debate is. And there are many Egyptians who supported the current Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, mainly because of that, mainly because since 2013, he chased the Islamist group and tried to limit their effect on the Egyptian society without compromising the right of people who want to be pious to choose what they wear and how to live. All I can say is that the Islamists will exploit that to try to turn certain Egyptians against the president, but I doubt it will work.
Right, I wanted to ask you, do you think that there will be a backlash to this decision, or is it one that is largely supported by the public?
Unfortunately, there are no polls in Egypt to assess how the public will respond to that. But when Cairo University banned the niqab, there was hardly any rejection. I could see on social media that the Islamists that are trying to compare Egypt with France, and that is laughable, to be frankly honest, because the vast majority of Egyptian women are wearing a certain, either the hijab or a long hijab. So it's the mature women freedom of choice not infringed, but to cover your face and expect it to turn up to exams is a different story altogether. And to force a dress code on kids and sometimes black headscarf is, I don't think it's accepted by the majority of Egyptians.
Nirvana, we appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Nirvana Mahmood there.
You're more than welcome.